Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Daniel Francis, and I'm with a client of mine, Dr. Qureshi. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. And Usman has been working with me for how long again? You would say about a
Two
month.
months, two
About 2
months,
months.
2 months.
And I remember the first call we had was, very vulnerable, and you were just kind of open about kind of where you were at in life, and it's crazy how fast time flies. And what I really want to talk about in this interview is kind of like your experience, in the past of trying to improve your speech with your stutter, just communication as a whole. You're obviously a physician. I'm sure you went to speech therapy before, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I want you to kind of talk about that journey, and then how the heck did we end up here? And I want you to talk about, the things that you learned from the coaching calls to the Saturday public speaking calls to all the modules. So, sir, welcome to the call, and introduce yourself.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. So hello, everyone. My name is Osman Qureshi. I live currently in Chicago, Illinois. And like Daniel said, I'm a doctor working in the admin industry for a hospital network here in the Chicagoland area. So mostly on the revenue side of the industry. But a little bit about myself. So I'm originally from India. I migrated here when I was very young. So English was not my first language, unfortunately. So somewhere along the line of me coming into the States and starting school right away, that's kind of where my stutter first started. So right away, my parents, put me into like the speech therapy courses, and at school I was also taking some courses in ESOL. But to be honest, like I didn't even know what stuttering was. I just came into this country, and I'm 5 years old and I'm having some hardships with speaking. My words aren't coming out. So, like I couldn't even understand what it was myself. So I went through many years of speech therapy as a kid, but couldn't really understand what it was about myself. So I felt like it wasn't that effective for myself.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure a lot of people might have that experience, but for me, it was just like, what is this thing? Why am I the only one having it? Why is everyone else around me able to speak and introduce their names without having any difficulty? And why am I the only one? So, as it was, not knowing English that well and trying to incorporate my life into the school system, making friends, that was a very hard start to my life in America at a very young age. So I'll stop there, and then I guess we'll go on from there. Or
Cool. So thank you. Cool. So, kind of fast forward. So you obviously went to med school, and obviously you work in the healthcare field. How did we end up here, man? Because obviously, you obviously worked a lot on yourself, but there's from really how we started this whole relationship, there was this kind of missing piece that you weren't
yeah,
haven't really figured out yet. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons why you joined the program to work with me. So what was the missing piece? Like, what was the thing that you felt you needed to really, because you've obviously come a long way, but I think there's that next level. And but what was that next level for you specifically?
sure. So to give a little bit of background to that, so I went through most of my early childhood and adolescence not caring about stuttering at all. I was just like, it is what it is, and I'm going to hide from it. I'm not going to speak up when I don't need to. I'm not going to unnecessarily make any friends. So all throughout my high school, I was very antisocial, very introverted. I wouldn't get involved in anything extracurricular. I'm sure had the same doubts and concerns that most people have about being called on or being asked to read something or having to speak in front of an audience or in front of my high school students. So I went through that, and then something in me just like was sick of that, like after high school. And when I started my university years, I was just like, you know what, I've been hiding for 18 years now. I'm not going to let that happen anymore. So I just started becoming more social at that point in my life, started getting involved, making more like a lot of new friends, and just like anything I could get my hands on that I didn't do in the past, I would make sure that I did in college. And as I got kind of more and more confident, I'm like, you know what, I need to get some speech therapy again as an adult. Now that I'm older, I think I should work on it some more. So came across like a stuttering support group in my local area, and that was kind of my first introduction to people who stuttered outside of myself. So that was a really big help for me emotionally. The first time I actually saw someone stutter in my life was when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
So that was a very big impact on me to know that, hey, there's other people out there that stutter. And that's kind of when I first got that sense of having people around you that stutter, that can make a big impact on your life. Just being able to share your thoughts, your concerns, what you've been through. A lot of us have a lot of the same stories,
Yeah.
that we've been through. So I went to speech therapy again as an adult, and that was kind of the first time where someone actually asked me, well, how does stuttering actually make you feel like emotionally?
Mhm.
So that kind of like understanding how that made me feel, like that was a big help for me. Um, Fast forward again, I went to med school in the Caribbean. I did my residency in the surgical area. I found some opportunities to get involved in the admin side of the industry, and went back to school, got my MHA degree,
Nice.
got married, had kids,
Yeah.
um, and just kind of had that self realization moment, like, I'm happy where life is, but am I happy with my speech?
Hmm.
And I would always just look on YouTube or look on the internet just for like people that stuttered, or just finding anything I could about stuttering. I remember when the movie came out, The King's Speech,
Yeah.
I was really excited about that. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna let the world know about it, and I'm gonna do anything I can to educate the world. So I actually reached out to like a local news channel and
Wow.
a newspaper, and they printed an article, and they did an article on stuttering, and I was actually on the local news as well, saying that, like I spoke about stuttering. So that's the first time that I actually like opened up like on my social media, or
Hmm.
with people that knew that I started, but I never like openly said that I started to them. But for some reason, I always like to hide the fact that I stuttered. I was never very comfortable opening up about it. So that's the first time that I ever opened up. And the feedback that I got was amazing. Like people reached out and said, hey man, like, I know it's very hard for you. And just like hearing people reaching out to you and saying, hey man, you're doing a great job, or just even just saying, hey, like I noticed that you stuttered, but like you don't let that define who you are. So just
Love
getting
that.
that positive encouragement. But anyways, how I met you and how I came across, your speech program, or that's public speaking. Public speaking was always something that like I would look at people that speak really well and look at their confidence on stage and just see myself like in their shoes. But I was always, like I would never make myself in that situation. So that's
Hmm.
kind of what led me to public speaking and kind of searching up how to public speak. And I came across your ad. I saw your testimonials, and just honestly, I saw you and your confidence level, and that really attracted me. Like knowing where you came from and your background, and knowing that you had a hard stutter as well when you were growing up, and the whole concept of public speaking, along with kind of like speech therapy, that combination seemed really good to me.
Hmm.
And here I am, 2 months later.
Here you are 2 months later. Cool. So that's an awesome story, and that transition. My question to you is, so let's kind of get into the last 2 months. because you've, some people might look at you and be like, well, you've always been open about it. You've always been, growing, when it comes to your communication. What's been different the last 2 months? Because you're someone who hasn't been like, yeah, I haven't really done anything before, or I haven't really done too much
Yeah.
of like, you've been part of support groups, you've done many different things, right? So how's the last 2 months been? Because I feel like what I teach and kind of like working with me is a little unorthodox, like it's not traditional. And I would love kind of your feedback on that, especially because you have all the experience in other realms in the communication field.
Okay. So to answer that question, I love being around people who stutter. I love being involved in conversations about stuttering. So that fact that we have coaching calls, in the program that we meet a couple of times a week, we have one-on-one calls with you. Just being in that environment for me is what I really love. And the fact that the program is kind of centered around that you have a whole community of people that are there for each other, who that really lift each other up. That was a big part of it. And the fact that I actually made the conscious effort to spend on this course and to spend time on myself on a weekly basis, whether it be through some of the things we learn in the modules, or just hearing each other talk, that makes me conscious about my speech at all times. And I think that's the key thing that separates kind of like what I've done in the past with speech therapy. It was like, okay, now you learned this, you learned a speech technique, but there's no one really around you to kind of say, hey, this might happen in this situation, or give you that like extra confidence that you need by just saying something to you. That wasn't there. So in the last couple of months that I've been in this course, I would say the constant interaction that I have with myself and with other people around me being consciously aware of that I'm in a course that's helping me to gain the confidence that I need to speak well, not to get rid of my stutter, but to speak well and to speak with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of what I've liked about the last couple of months that I've been in the program.
Yeah, like it's not like, when people come to me, can I be 100% cured? It's like, no one can ever be 100% cured. That's not the goal. Like, I don't know if you've ever done this before. It like for example, what we're doing right now is a form of public speaking. He's on live. It's live. Okay. It's not pre-recorded. It's live. The questions have not been prepared.
You didn't tell me it was live.
You just found out, right? And you're doing an awesome job. And I think, like, have you ever done something like this before? Have you ever done like an interview like this? Is this
Yeah. When I told you about when I did the interview for King's Speech,
yes.
I was on live TV.
That's it. Perfect. And how long ago was that? Let's say it's a couple of years, right?
10 years ago. I think that's when the movie came out.
10 years.
So, yeah, that was nerve-wracking, but
But this is the idea. You've taken a conscious effort. So there's a few things, just because I want to recap, because I'm a big fan of, as a coach, I invest into coaches as well, or else I'd be a hypocrite. And when you make a conscious decision to be like, I'm invested into this, it's just like, going to med school. It's like, the amount of money you're spending, you better show up to class. It's like that type of idea. You better be studying. And it's that conscious effort forces you to level yourself up. There's this, I'm committed to it. That's number one. Number two, I think the community, is very vital, but I think having a community of people that are as ambitious as you. I've been in communities where it's like some people are ambitious, some people are kind of like, they're not all in, and I feel like you can kind of add to this. I feel like most people in the group are pretty focused, because everyone has invested in some shape or form.
Yeah,
definitely. I don't know if you want to add to that, but I think that is very vital. It's like, you are who you surround yourself with. If you're around people that are motivated, naturally you'll become more motivated. And that's awesome. I love the conscious effort, because I think
in a way, I feel like the people that are also in the course, they're invested in yourself as well. It's not just like they're in it only to help themselves, but everyone's helping each other out. And That's one of the things I think is really helpful when you see other people that are invested in your success apart from yourself.
Yeah, like we're a big family, and I'm a big fan. Like I'm the gatekeeper, you know, like I'm not a fan of having hundreds upon thousands of people in the program, at least not right now, because I'm very big on, you know, core group and family. So that's awesome. My last question to you, or we might have another one after this. Are there any words for people that are maybe on the fence about this program, or maybe they're I don't know, they're overthinking, or you know, one big thing is I can just figure this out by myself. Do you have any words for those people? Because I feel like those are, you know, the ones that are, they're hungry for the growth, but they're scared to move forward in life. They're scared to, like, should I go this way? Should I go this way? I don't know where to go. What words would you have for them?
So for people that are on the fence, there's a reason why they're on the fence to begin with. You know, they are looking for something. They are looking to work on themselves because they know they're not happy with the way things are going right now. So that's the reason why they're looking for something. Apart from that, sometimes you have to take a leap of faith on something, and you have to really have that. You have to have the um, you have to have the conviction, a word that I learned in the program,
Yeah,
um, that you know this will work for me, but I have to have faith in myself. So that's something that I would just say to people that are on the fence.
that's awesome.
Have the conviction that you know that this will be the thing that will work for me, and go on with that attitude and
Mhm.
that mindset.
You know, sorry, I got more questions. Learning in this program, what results have you specifically seen in your life? Like if you could say like quantifiable, I've seen this. Um, what do you think has really changed over the last 2 months for yourself?
As far as learning goes, you're talking to someone that spent 8 years in school and hundreds of books, but um, learning is something that you don't realize at the moment, but the more you learn, you feel confident about yourself. Like if you learn, if you learned like the meaning of a word in a context you've never heard it before, like the fact that you know that now, it just makes you feel more confident about your vocabulary. And you know, if you try to like incorporate that into your speaking abilities, you know, it just makes you feel good about yourself. So just that concept of learning, we think that, oh, we're done with school, so I don't want to learn anymore. But being in that mindset that you're learning, it keeps your like it just keeps you motivated to succeed more. That you're learning things every day and it's helping you as an individual.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, how about mindset? Talk to me about mindset. You know, I get some people that go, Daniel, it's not about mindset. It's you are born like this. It's genetic. You don't have control of it, and you just got to have little speech techniques, and that's how you fix it. Um, what's your take on mindset? Because I pound, you know, the what's happening up here really controls how you operate as a whole.
Yeah. So mindset is something that you have to really be conscious about it at all times. Like you can't think that, you know, um, that one day my speech is just going to go away. But being in the mindset that I am like all in terms of like learning the most of from this program, and the concept of burning the boats, you
Yeah.
know, where you don't want to leave any other option that will get in your way. So that's kind of what you have to go in it with, like, okay, this is it for me. You know, there's nothing else that is going to do it for me but me and my mindset and my dedication to something that I feel really passionate about. I think that's the thing that will carry you over.
Cool. Okay. Well, as we wrap up this interview, I thank you for taking time out of your day on a Monday. Any last words you kind of have for anyone who is watching? I'm sure people are inspired. Any words you have for them?
It's you have to start at some point. I'm 39 years old and I'm thinking about this at this stage in my life. You know, like a lot of other people might start at a younger age, but there's no wrong time to start. So the earlier that you invest into yourself, then then the sooner you'll feel, you know, like more confident about yourself and that you're working on something that will help you to be the authentic version of yourself. Like if that's one thing that I communicate to everyone is that when you have like insecurities about yourself, you know right off the bat that that's not the person that you really are. Like you know that there is some like insecurities and you don't want that to be there, but your mind wants you to kind of be in a comfort zone and be like, okay, don't do anything new, don't think don't do anything that will hurt you. You know, that's just how we work, you know, as human beings, that we always want to keep ourselves safe. So that's something that, you know, that if you're just being safe all the time, then you're not being who you really want to be. So that's kind of what my main message is to people, is to be the version of yourself that you want to be, and not the version that your safekeeping mind wants you to be.
Well, listen, sir, coming on to a call like this, public speaking on a live interview, it ain't easy. And I want to give you a round of applause because you stepped out of your comfort zone, and that's the most important part. If you're inspired, post that in the comment section below. If you have any questions for myself or Mr. Doctor over here, I'm sure you can definitely message him and ask him some questions. But with that being said, thank you so much, sir. And we will see you on the next coaching call. Take care.
Thank you.